I'm going to do some view frame group creations and then create sheets with them. In this case, they're going to be plan and profile views for this large US Forest Service project. Braden Burke has been able to help me get a lot more of the settings tweaked. He's been experimenting with them a lot. Let's see if we can get this really rolling to the next level. I have a master profile here of a center line of a road. It's finished grade center and its existing grade center being the green, finished grade being the red with some vertical curves and such. So I got that started. And in here, I have an alignment down here with a large LiDAR surface on this blown out Forest Service road. Some mass haul stuff here from Road Engineering Softtree. We'll mess with that later. So let's go into creating view frames first. Take a look. I have all the templates, DWT. You can use DWG for my view frame groups template grab. I have one alignment in here, H align 1. I'm actually going to pause and rename that to something I want. Well, maybe on second thought I'm going to leave it alone because this is the naming convention it has from this program here called Road Eng 9 Terrain. I'm just going to leave that for now. I change its nomenclature a little bit, but that's just me being a little OCD. So we have our station range, the entire alignment. We want, in this case, the entirety of it, not just a specific range. Let's go with sheets. We want plan and profile, indeed, not just plans. I've actually done some for a highway with a plan sheet on top of a plan sheet, so one after another. You can do profiles only, profile on top of a profile, and a plan and profile. So that is a nice option we've messed with. This is going to stay as a long alignment, as we've found works well most cases prior trials with this. I have my template file already saved away exactly for this project sizing, and it's saved to this exact project location. It's very similar to other ones we've used as blank templates for different agencies and our own standards, but this one I customized just ever so slightly to this project's needs. It's a little different than other Forest Service projects, just by a little bit. And I saved it in my design files here for this project. So it's here. This is kind of a preview of what it looks like. It's a plan on top and a profile. These sheets are going to be created automatically, starting with view frame groups. On the bottom, it has a little mass haul area. So that was the main impetuous or thing to create these slightly different is I wanted to leave a little void area on the bottom for the mass haul. And so it had the right spacing. And I didn't want to put another viewport right there either. I've never tried that with 3 viewports. I didn't want to freak anything out in the view frame group creation and then making the sheets after. So get your title block dialed in tight before you run this part. Get it set, ready. Even in this one, I made an XREF, so there's a lot of live items in here, like my plan, my profile labels, some north arrow and scale bar, some variables that change here, and then this outer title block, the outside, is actually XREF within this DWT. So I'm actually curious how this will work at the very end. So with that being said, we're all good on that for now. Let's open it. There's only one possible tab in here, and as you can see by here, there could be many, but I only have one option. I'm going to do 60 scale. I already kind of established that. This plan set mimicking other roads. So you got to think about a lot of this stuff ahead of time. In this case, I'm going to do my overall scale for each plan and profile view. Matching, of course, it's the standard. They go from left to right. And matching scale, I'm going to do 1 inch equals 60 feet. I already know that. A lot of times you might have a lot of options here. So we're going to keep a line along alignment selected, and then view frame group. Let's do some options here. So this is the name of the view frames. I only have one in here. I could change them to different things. It just says the alignment, mother alignment it's coming from, and then counter going up from 1. I'm going to leave that alone. It's default Civil 3D layer. Its name of each one, you can get customizable on this. Haven't worried too much about customizing these in the view frame groups, the big blue bars that are about to make my views, but I'm going to use the frame border style. We'll use this default DJNA style, and the label location, middle center of the view frame. When it populates a model space, that's fine. Let's go to the next, the match lines. These are worth messing around with. This is like a grid snap that me and Braden went over. He's tweaked with this a lot. It's like saying it'll only snap in increments of 10 feet. That's probably not a bad one. This is additional overlapping between the beginning and end from profile view to profile view, or sheet view to sheet view, which has a corresponding plan and profile view in this case. This is adding another 100. So they already kind of overlap. We've been finding this gives it additional overlap. I'm going to say 10 feet there. I'm going to even say 5 feet. I'm just going to go low on that because there's already overlap. This just goes a little more even. It's possible I might not like that. I'll have to go back and redo these view frames. This is some of the stuff that it's worth looking at to tweak now. It's easier. So here we could rename the match lines. I'm just going to let them count up from 1. There's other variables. Instead of doing the next counter, you can insert here. We're going to do some of this later. We insert raw station ends and starts to better name our sheets more automatically. This one I'll leave. We're going to put this to middle on the labels of the match lines. It's just in a little bit better position to see things as you go down the alignment. The label plops in the middle of match line to match line. I think we're good here. This is the area. These creating view frames really pays to go through these pretty slow. I know I'm going to do 3:1 vertical exaggeration with no extra horizontal PIs. Those are blue lines I have when I want to see horizontal points of inflection or importance, but I'll just pick this for now. Like a lot of these Civil 3D styles, these can all be edited after the fact, but it's nice to get them close right now. So these are DJNA profile views, or basic ones, or our common ones, from 1:1 to 10:1. And this is a key part. We're just digging into more. We created one custom one here. Braden did. It's called P&P creation bands. This is how it helps us to offset them a little better in between. It's a very basic band. It just has basically an empty bottom band with a gap. So it makes a gap on the bottom and top of the profile view. And this gets multiplied depending on how big the profile view is. There's really nothing else in it. This is helpful to help make the profile views look the way we want. There's a lot of things you can add to these bands in the bottom or top of profile views with data, cuts and fills and elevations, and fill and cut distances depending on where it is in the horizontal. But this is our band we are using to get our views to create correctly that my colleague Braden has been experimenting with. So we'll set that. Now we're ready to create these view frames. Let's hit create. Give it a second. They will have created down here. This is a good time to inspect them, take a look at them. Honestly, they overlap quite a bit. But this is where the true match line is going to be. This is where it goes from one sheet to the next. The view frame is where the blue is kind of where the sheet will overtake the match line. These lines here are where the sheet's really going to. We had the match line option of. It was not called masking. I think it had masking. So basically, let's say you're in this sheet looking at this one. It would mask everything on this side of this match line and on this side. So you wouldn't see this little area in here, or this area in here. But really, your sheet, what I have selected, this blue line, that's going to be the extents possible to see on your sheet. It's a little bit rotated and it follows along the alignment as you make the sheets, and it plucked from that template I made, but this is the max extents, at least along the alignment. So we can go all the way to here on 1:60 scale for that template sheet. So let's move on to making the sheets that we got these set, and they can be tweaked after the fact, but it's best to get them as best we can right away. This is a key step. So I have quite a few sheets here. I have probably over 20 or so, maybe 25 for this 5+ mile road at 1:60 scale. Huge time saver at this point. So back to the output tab in my sheet sets, and you'll see that these populate. They have been populated. I can rename them. They're associated with this alignments name. There's the view frames, match lines, also populating a tool space. We're ready to create sheets now in the output tab. A lot more things to select on this one. We only have one view frame group that we just made. We're going to use all of them. We're going to create these sheets, these tabs in this drawing. That's fine for now. It's possible we could do it in another drawing or a new drawing because there's going to be quite a few of them. I'm okay with making them right now here. And then the layout name of each one is another option we can choose here, what they're going to be called, each one. This is one area we can name these sheets more precisely. I just blew out the next counter here. We could go deeper into this and we could do different variables. So I might say I want each one of these sheets as they get produced to be called plan, profile, all the same on those. And I'll put the start raw station at the beginning here to the view frame end raw station, so the exact station, not the rounded up one. You could do this one, the value, that would be more rounded up. I haven't tried that one actually yet, but we'll leave these for now. Plan profile, start to, and this will be easy for naming sheets later. It'll speed us up a lot. Okay, that gets sucked in there. We want a north arrow, which I only have one main arrow I use in most of all my jobs for this company. It's this one. Next. Let's add these to a sheet set. I have a few from past trials I need to delete out. These are my latest ones. I'll worry about that later. This is where the sheet set, the DST file is. You can also have the sheet file name. So the file name, as it shows up on your sheet set manager over here. So you might call these something too. I might even keep these ones a little shorter. P&P for plan and profile. Well, let's just go to the deeper one here and continue it here. We'll say raw station start, raw station end, insert, up one. This is the sheet file name. So this just names them in the sheet set. So when I go to the sheet set file, I wanted to tell it to link these two, which is deep in this project file, blah, 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 sheet production, this easy row spot here. This is my DST file. They're going to append to this as a subset of sheets. In this previous step, these are my sheet names here. Plan and profile, that's more long drawn out. So I'll probably use fields to name these more automatically. This is separate from my sheet set names when they populate. We'll go look at that once they populate. So we have those found. We have those set. Double click that just to kick it in the butt to get these back up. I have these set, but I'm going to keep these sheet file names, which aren't the sheet names, within the sheet set. It's kind of confusing, two spots. These are going to be a little more shorthand, P&P, instead of drafting it all the way out. Let's go to next. We have our profile view picked. We have our band style from previously. We have everything here, but we're going to choose some settings in the profile view wizard we've had some luck with. We're going to keep this from start to end. It's very typical. Most profile and plan views, we go from left to right as they read. We're not going to do it the center, about the center or the end. We're going to keep to this typical standard. That one's easy enough. This profile view wizard, we can get a little deeper into changing how they get displayed. Sometimes you got to run through this creating sheets a couple of times to get these more perfected. We've had a lot of success making them so you can't make them go automatic here. That has to that's not allowed in this phase, but we have had a lot more success getting a mean elevation. So you can see this is our mean elevation. It will try to make the height of the profile view and the elevation in the Y direction this amount. We'll have to go back later and change that to an even amount. It's kind of a pick one or the other thing, but they generally will keep it very centered very well using this, as we've found before. We're just getting better at maybe editing more settings here. But it's not perfect, but it gets you on the right foot to editing these minimally later is most of the goal here. You might look past this after you got the mean elevation set. We're not using split profiles yet. We haven't had a luck with these styles as of late. We're essentially splitting them all as we go right now because we're creating all of them at once. Let's check our profile settings. We might want to make sure there's no labels where there shouldn't be. What's the styles? Civil 3D styles are correct. So this top one is my finished grade. Probably want to take a look at these. Yes, I want that to be a profile design 1. I want the existing ground to be this. This is the profile style of the profile that gets shown on a profile view. Okay, they're two separate things, but the profile needs to be shown on a profile view. It can't show by itself. So that's the profile. This is the labels that come on it for the profile. For the existing ground, I don't want to see anything. So this is the existing ground. This is the design ground, center line of US Forest Service Road. I'm going to turn this to no labels. I don't want my complete labels set. That's more for this is more for design profiles. I want it to be off. So that's something you should check on these. You can set these default settings in your Civil 3D templates, but you got to choose one. You can't choose all kinds of variables there. You just kind of start with one. This shows it's a sample profile. This shows it's more of a design profile. These icons can help you out too, the type of profile it is. Let's go to data bands. We had this set already. So I don't have all of these hashed through perfectly. We've set a lot of these already. The hatch options showing cut and fill areas, what's above, what's below, are given profile view or profiles on our profile views. Can do these, but we're not going to do those today. The multiple plot options is something I'd like to look into more. And honestly, I like going from left to right, but I don't like going from bottom to top. So like section views, I might flop these. I like the draw order by rows. I might even like them by columns, so you can say which order. Maybe you go from top to bottom, but you do it by columns. Or maybe you go from top to bottom and you do it by rows. Columns are on the vertical, rows this way in the horizontal. Maximum in a row, I don't know. I like maybe a lot of them. Let's do 10 to a row. The gap between them, that's as I click on these, the gap between rows. It's helpful to see these icons. Columns, these are worth messing with. I'm going to go to the upper left is where they start because I like reading in English from top to bottom, left to right. So that's kind of what I'm going with here. Draw order, rows. Let's have them go by columns. Possibly it would go, this would be the first profile, this would be the second, down, 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 and then you would basically go this way. When you get to the bottom of this column, restart up here. And then continue on. And then restart just like this. So you can choose which way it goes. Maybe you even choose. I love having it start in the upper left like this. I hate when it's down here, similar section views. I might have mine read this way and then restart, restart, and read this direction. So that's what I'm thinking here. Let's check. I want 10. Draw order by rows that way. Upper left as a starter. Max in one row, 10. Sure. Let's do finish. Now we're ready to create the sheets. So let's hit create sheets. My drawing will be saved as this happens on this process. Now we need to watch our command bar. It says select profile view origin. Put it in a spot that makes sense. This is where they're going to start creating the sheets and be more permanent. So let's consider putting them maybe near our master profile view here. Let's put them right. I'm going to make them in line with it with O snaps like so. Let's turn on polar tracking. Might be a bit overkill. We can move them later, but you don't really want to do that. You want to put them in a pretty good spot to start. There we go. Let's put them way up here so we got space. They're creating, reading the template file, creating them all automatically right now. This is where a lot of work's being done. Going from station by tens, so they're making it at least by tens as our gaps. And it's creating the names of the sheets all automatically. And we said 10 is our lowest increment, which I like instead of to the nearest hundredth of a foot. So they'll probably show like something like this. They have their label sets, which is awesome. For the finished grade, we'll have to hit regenerate or regenerate all. Let's regenerate. Here they are. So take a good look at them, what you have. I like that they're up here out of the way. Let's move this in non-plot layer this way. So they should have started in upper left here and worked their way this way and then gone down left to right, top to bottom. So let's verify that. 1600 goes, ends here, starts here. Yes. Continues. Let's go to the end of the row as it goes up. Ends at 89 plus 90. It should start at 89 plus 90 here. Yep. Okay. Now we have our sheets that were created in this drawing, a whole bunch of them. So see, this is where the naming came in, what I named them. Almost a little too long. See how I can't quite read them all. Let's go to the last sheet. Created about 20 sheets here. I might have redoing these. I maybe would name them P and P, but this will come in handy when I look at my sheet set and I get this field to rename them. So let's do a regenerate all again. Should rename them with the field. I got to re-kick this in the butt, this field. So this is where some of this is getting automated with the layout tab along with the sheet set manager. Here's some previous ones I did, some test runs. These are the ones I just created just now. So let's say open sheet. I'm in this drawing, so it should go quick. Oops, these are old ones. Should be this one here. This one should be an old one too, yes. So not all of them added here. I have them here. Kind of interesting. Only some of them added. So they added in my sheet set here. I should have about 20 or so, but I only have 5 or 6. So this is a nice thing, and see my profile view added right here. So doing these in one fell swoop is really nice in this case for the naming of the sheets. And then we'll probably get each sheet dialed in, its layer state, and I'll effectively get one layer state saved, and I'll work my way sheet by sheet. I'll go to layer state. I might really like this layer state and say typical PNP sheet plan. I'll save it, which then can be restored when I go to new sheets and say restore. It will take all the layer features, everything symbology wise, and make it so in my next coming sheets. So you can see my north arrow changed. That's automatic. And I have some more prettying up to do to make these sheets work. And I have some more prettying up to do on the profiles to pretty them up a little bit, to make them fit, to make them have the right balance in the sheet. But it's a lot of this is done for me already, which is awesome. So if I go to the next sheet, this one is continuing on left to right. And keep in mind, this alignment goes from northeast to southwest, so kind of the opposite direction as you can see for my north arrow, northeast to southwest. So they're nice, clean looking sheets that I can hit the ground running now.